Hey friends, good to see you again. So let's talk about Mercury turning direct on the 15th of September this month. I didn't talk much about Mercury going retrograde because I'm an incredibly lazy astrologer. But now that Mercury is going direct, let's catch up a little bit. So on the 15th, Mercury moves forward at 8 degrees Virgo. The entire retrograde period has occurred in the sign of Virgo. So August 3rd, Mercury really entered the shadow phase. August 23rd, Mercury turned officially retrograde. Now on the 15th, Mercury turns direct at 8 degrees Virgo, but is not out of the shadow period until September 30th. So as of the 15th, to the 30th of September, things pick up steam. Things start to move forward. We start to be able to solve problems, come to better solutions and conclusions. So the fog starts to lift around these days when Mercury is turning direct, and we start to gain speed when it comes to solving problems. Here comes my father. Just 1 second here because, well, Mercury is retrograde, right? Back to work after a very detailed conversation about what we're going to have for our family dinner. So, Mercury in Virgo is about discernment. That is the number one thing that we're looking at in Virgo. It is very interesting to note 21 degrees Virgo because this is where Mercury exits the shadow period and where we just had the new moon in Virgo, opposite to Neptune in a trine to Uranus, very powerful new moon when it comes to reorganization of our daily lives, our habits, our addictions, our management of ourself, and discernment. Discernment is something that is, again, particularly highlighted with Mercury, because Mercury is the ruler of discernment, of looking at what is what. So we are gaining in intelligence. Here comes my father again. Just 1 second. So that was a continued conversation about the peas, and we were able to agree on how they should be cooked. So Mercury in Virgo, all about discernment. To be smart is to be able to read the lines. To be intelligent is to be able to read between the lines. When someone is smart, that means that they have recollection. They might have a degree. They can take tests well. They can spit facts back up. When someone is intelligent, they know what's what, regardless of what we've been taught. So a lot of us have the opportunity to really gain real intelligence that comes from proper discernment. This is a very analytical retrograde period as well. Many of us are looking at what we do wrong. Many of us are looking at the common cyclical mistakes that we keep making. And so much of our health is tied to our habits, our routine. That's why it's all found in Virgo in the 6th house in the same place. Health, routine, mental and emotional health. That is all in the same area of life for a reason. So we're looking at what are the common mistakes, missteps, flaws in our thinking. Looking at what we do every day to get in our own way. What are the smaller choices that we make that add up to be really big problems in our life. So similar themes are going on with a retrograde Mercury that we saw with the new moon in Virgo, because it's all happening in the sign of Virgo. If you have any planets between 20 and 25 degrees, it is a big deal for you. It doesn't matter what the sign. The relationship, when it comes to how you're going to deal with this period of time with planets around 21 degrees Virgo, that's going to depend on the aspect. Maybe an easy thing that you're incorporating, maybe a difficult lesson that you're learning, depending on if it's square, in conjunct, or in opposition, or if you have something easy going on like a sextile or even a conjunction, or if you have something easy going on, especially like a conjunction or a sextile or a trine, or sometimes a quintile. I'm just going to take this beef knee away from this Papyranian, because distractions are another thing that we're looking at in Virgo. How is it that we are looking away or being caught up or being distracted in any which way from what our goal is? Because the earth signs, the earth houses, have so much to do with stability and reaching the peak. Taurus in the second house, Virgo the sixth house, Capricorn the 10th house. These are all areas of life where we refine, we get better, and we reach the peak. So we have the birth of what we want in the second house and with Taurus, the refining and practicing of it, the management of ourselves so we can eventually reach what we want, get what we want in Virgo. And then we have reaching the peak, reaching the goal, the top of the mountain, feeling like we've made it in Capricorn and in the 10th house. So we are really focusing on practicing, refining ourselves, catching ourselves messing up so we can eventually have the kind of life, the kind of relationships that we want. What we're learning, what we're figuring out during this retrograde cycle and the accompanying new moon in Virgo has everything to do with the long term. Because what we practice on a daily basis, the rituals that we incorporate into our life have everything to do with the culture of our life. So it's a big deal how you eat. It's a big deal how you treat yourself. It's a big deal how much time you spend in self-analysis and in introspection. We are making serious progress when it comes to fine-tuning and tweaking, and in some cases, for some of us, changing the culture of our life. It doesn't seem like it, because the biggest things do not happen in Virgo. But small things precede big things. And we are getting better at catching ourselves messing up. This is not a retrograde cycle that is about being caught externally. This is about getting after our own self for making common ritualistic mistakes that add up to be a big deal in our life. So there's nobody that's after us. There's nobody that we can look to tell us what to do and then blame if things go wrong. This is about us taking personal responsibility for how we run our own daily lives. This is not about having the eye in the sky that is going to make us do things. If we don't do it ourselves, If we don't spank our own selves, nobody's going to do it for us. So we need to get with the program by starting our own potentially new program and sticking to it. This is a grounding sign, Virgo. If we want to be somewhere else, if we're looking for something better, if we're wishing, if we're hoping, if we're looking for external circumstances to complete us, or another person to bring us what we've always been looking for, we are not living consciously if we are looking to be spirited away by something better. And there is a way that you can enjoy the moment. In Virgo, we can see ourselves in the little things. In the opposing sign of Pisces, we see ourselves in the everything. But we can see ourselves in the details of life in the sign of Virgo. And when we really understand that we can be reflected in even the smallest things, that even the smallest decisions, choices that we make can add up to become the biggest problems or the biggest solutions or the biggest blessings or the biggest curses. We're looking at how we can be more intelligent in the moment, how we can understand what is really happening, to be able to discern one thing from another and make better choices, to be able to run our own lives because we're living consciously. We aren't allowing the past to determine the present, which then becomes the future. So we really, really have a chance to take responsibility for our own lives. That's also another thing that we see in the earth signs. These are the boring signs. These are the signs where magic doesn't happen unless we are involved in it. Things don't happen to us. So we should all be prepared to make some choices that are going to cut some of what we're used to out of our life, because we have the opportunity to identify what we're doing that is unhealthy, that is self-destructive. And we have to be prepared to fill in those gaps, to find something that does work for us, that is healthier, that is soothing, to take the place of what it is that we are cutting out of our life, or that we're saying no to, or that we're disciplining ourselves against. So we have a chance to enhance our life with some new habits, possibly even some new interests, some new talents that can take the place, take up some space in our life where we may have been acting in ways that were completely ineffective, that were self-destructive, where we were frankly wasting our time. So our effectiveness increases during the next couple of weeks. So good luck to everybody. I hope it works for you swimmingly well. It's a great sign for Mercury to be retrograde in the sign of Virgo, because Mercury does naturally rule the sign of Virgo and Gemini. So when it is retrograde in those signs, I think it's a particularly pure experience. So hope you get the best out of it, and I'll see you guys super soon.